Hello, everyone, from the Matt Moore's Digital Studio here in Fresno, California. This is the Beem and Dean Show, episode 97. We're up to 97 with Sports Director, KSEE24 and CBS 47, Scott Bemis. I am Dean Schiro. Welcome aboard. It's March Madness time. Is this the most exciting week in college basketball? We will talk about that in a moment. We have a new leader here in March. Scotty has taken the lead, the early lead, but we still have 3 weeks left.
The best of the worst,
and we have a lot of basketball and other sports, including World Baseball Classic, ahead of us. So, Scott, thoughts on the weekend, stuff that happened, the weekend that was.
Well, first off, let's get to your weekend, because you were, like me, checking out West Coast late night basketball in Las Vegas. You were there on
I was there for a soccer junket. Yeah, a little soccer junket, and we had a little time to kill, so we made our way over to the Orleans. $7 tickets to see the end of Washington State.
$7, really? That's all.
I got three of us in for $20. My son Joey and his best friend Rod. We were hanging around Vegas, so we got to see the end of the Wazoo Portland game. Portland beat Wazoo that night, and then we got to see Steve Lavin's last game as the coach of the USD Toreros.
You can always say you were there for Steve Lavin's last game.
I was like one of like 500 people that were there. And I got to watch him. I got to watch him coach his magic and stuff. It was great. It was a lot of fun.
This is why I love my buddy Dean, because he is. Maybe I am the only other person in the world besides Dean who would have thought of going to the Orleans and checking out early round action in the West Coast Conference tournament while I'm in Vegas. But I definitely would have checked it out, and that's why I love that Dean did.
So I got to tell you what kind of dad Dean Schiro is here, real quick, folks. So my son has to be at his games about an hour early for warm-ups. So his great father decided to try to find the nearest casino. I found the Suncoast.
Yeah,
out there in Summerlin, up on the top of the hill.
Yeah.
It's only a mile away from the Kellogg's there soccer complex. I would run up there, get all my parlay stuff in there. A couple from my friend here as well. He put some money on the line and at least came home with some money. But I would run over there, get my plays in, run back over, not miss the beginning of the game, and then take my son back over there and make him wait in the car while I cash the tickets.
To me,
what a great dad, huh?
That's great parenting. No, I would say that's great parenting. You're showing him, how to make efficient use of your time.
Efficient.
Yeah, and to make sure that, you can get over to a casino quickly. You need to have a book available. Hey, if you're in Las Vegas and you're visiting,
go see the Suncoast. The folks at the Suncoast were very welcoming to me. They were great. So they're on the top of the hill there in Summerlin. Nice little place there. They're remodeling it, but I found the $2 parlay, Scotty. That's kind of my new thing.
They have a $2 parlay?
You can wager $2 now on machines. Yeah, it used to be $5, I think. Now it's $2. So I had like 50 tickets in my hands. It was crazy. But my man here, Scott's getting ready to go. He's going for the big tournament here, so he's going to return the favor for me. But something to look forward to.
Yeah. Oh no, you kind of got the juices flowing a little bit with you sending me texts from the Orleans, watching that game, which I was watching on the Plus at that point.
Yeah. Big West Thursday night.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, no, that definitely. I'm looking forward to next week. It's an annual trip. Try to make it out there for the first couple days of the NCAA tournament. If you've never been to Vegas for those 2 days, it's a lot of fun. It's kind of a madhouse. It's crazy. It's I always describe it. It's like Christmas for middle-aged men, basically. Exactly. It's like they get together with their buddies. Yeah. The days of like going to Vegas in your early 20s and partying hard and going out to the clubs are behind you.
Yeah.
And these are the guys, they're now parents and this and that, and they want to come, they want to sit down, they want to watch games for 10 hours, and they want to wager on it. They want to wear their jersey of their school if they have a team in it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun. It gives you like a sort of a feel like you're in an arena, because there's people wearing different colors, everybody's rooting for different teams, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I got a little vibe on that with the WCC a little bit, but we were there for the early rounds. Like with the triple bye, Gonzaga and St. Mary's just played tonight.
They're in action tonight.
They're in action tonight, but a lot of the other tournaments are getting ready to start. There's a few others in Vegas, including the Mountain West tournament, which we'll talk about a little bit. So.
By the way, as I was looking for some plays for today,
go for it.
Came across an interesting nugget. Okay. Do you know in the Sun Belt Conference Championship game, Dean, Georgia Southern, the 10 seed, right, is taking on the top seed Troy tonight for the conference title and for a trip to the big dance. Georgia Southern is looking to become the first team in NCAA Division I history to win 6 games in 6 days in a conference tournament and take it down. They've already beaten the 11, the 7, the 6, the 3, and the 2. Entering the tournament, they were 15-15. Now they're 21-15. They're a 20-win team now.
God, that's crazy. You have to win 6 to get there? I remember when Colorado had to win 4 to get there in 2012 in the old Pac-12. That was hard enough.
And get this, Georgia Southern actually got a bye in the first round. So there were other teams who would have had to have won 7 in 7 days. So it's like a bigger version of the West Coast Conference tournament, basically.
Wow.
And but that's crazy. I might have a play on that game, by the way, later.
All right. Well, that's a little tease going in there. So with that being said, let's come on in hot. All right, Scotty, I'll go first here. We talked about a little bit about this on Thursday's show. So there was a meeting at the White House last Friday about college football. A lot of prominent people were there, including the conference commissioners for the Big Four conferences. Urban Meyer and Nick Saban were there. Marco Rubio was there. Obviously, the President of the United States was there. And basically what they came to the agreement on is that the President is going to do an executive order sometime this week, like he has nothing else going on with everything going on in Iran. But he's going to do an executive order, he said, this week that's going to solve college football. Thoughts? Well, I'll turn this to you first, even though it's my hot take. Go for it.
I love when I love when Dean does that. Coming in hot. Here's my hot take. Here's the story. Your take, Scott.
Let's hear Scott's first, then we'll go with mine.
Well, one thing that struck me is just, if nothing else, President Trump, the entertainment value there is high.
It's
right?
high, very high.
It's high because he not only says that I'm going to do an executive order immediately and fix all your problems, but hey guys, we're going to get sued. Just so you know, we're going to get sued.
He did say that.
That's exactly what he said. We're going to get sued, and so we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah.
The one thing you can say is that. Like I said, President Trump, he doesn't wait to act. He acts, right? And so I don't know. We'll see what he comes up with. It's just right now. It's just an executive order. I don't know what that means.
Well, we haven't seen what it looks like yet. Like in defense, we haven't seen what it looks like, nor what it's going to construct. But he did say that it's going to solve all of college football's problems. But the main thing is we need some sort of guardrails. I think we can all agree that this episode, we'll say, of college football these last few years, it's just kind of gone off the rails, and it's kind of getting ridiculous at this point. And we could even include other college sports as well, including basketball too. But college football primarily just really kind of gone off the rails, and we need something. Even Nick Saban, who's no longer in the game, says, Mr. President, we need legislation of some sort. It's getting out of control. It's not what the letter of the law intended it to be, right? So anyway.
Well, that was the point. I was going to bring up a point about the fact that Nick Saban was there, that all the power conference commissioners were there. And so these are the guys who are going to be making the decisions. These are the guys, who are the power brokers, right, in college football.
Right.
And I think it's a good sign that Nick Saban is a part of this, right? Here's a guy, I think a lot of people think that he'd be a good commissioner for college football. He seems to, have a good handle on things. He mentioned that the education aspect of being a college athlete is now kind of gone by the wayside.
Truly.
And, in his opinion, his role was to kind of teach and guide and prepare young men for the future, not only as football players, but just as people in general. And that it doesn't really exist, or is getting harder and harder to do with the current structure. So, I don't think there's any disagreement on that. There needs to be some kind of change at some point,
right?
And some more rules and legislation. And if you believe all the people in college football, they say that this has to be done by politicians.
It does.
That they don't think there's any other way at this point to get this solved. And so, so we'll see. I don't want to I can't really comment on it until I see what President Trump is proposing.
No,
right?
No, I understand. But 95 to 98% of these guys who are in college will not play in the NFL. So what are they going to do with the rest of their lives? They need to get their education. They need to get their degree so they can get a job. So I think that's part of it too, is if these guys just hop around and then not get degrees, what good is that for some of these guys who are not going to make millions of dollars in the NFL? So.
Well, no doubt about that. One little point that was brought up in the article I read about it, and I'd be interested to get your thoughts, is there were no players represented.
Yeah, there should have been. There probably should have been. But again, it's one of those things where it was just an initial meeting. And when you got guys like Nick Saban and Urban Meyer there, they were saying that they're not coaches currently coaching in college football. They are representing players previous and future. So,
I think most of us would agree that it's gotten to a point too where you don't want to act too quickly without doing it properly and vetting the entire situation and hearing different opinions and this and that. You don't really want just one person, like making groundbreaking, sweeping changes. I would argue you want a group collective, different voices, from different aspects, kind of all having a chance to be heard. Mm-hmm. But I think it is reaching a point with college athletics right now where some quick, swift action might be warranted. That usually things move at a glacial pace, in college athletics, with like changes to the playoff or going to a playoff and all that stuff. But it may have reached that point where maybe, someone like, President Trump, with the fact that he doesn't wait, he just kind of acts, like I said.
Yeah. Not worried about getting sued either.
Yeah, so. Right. Might actually be good as long as he is listening to other people and taking other opinions. I don't want this just to be one person coming in, and saying we're doing this. And that's the thing I don't know. See, I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. Right. Is he just going to go on what he thinks is best, or is he going to actually listen to other people?
Well, I think that was part of that 2-hour summit, but also the conference commissioners were not saying we don't need your help. They're saying, Mr. President, we need your help.
Right.
It's not like they were saying we're good. We don't need any help. It's not like a meeting like, hey, Scott, you okay? I'm good. It was like, hey, you guys good? No, we're not good. We need help. So we'll leave it there. But anyway, all right. So Scotty's hot take today. Is college championship week in basketball the best week of the year?
Well, here's the thing.
Is championship week better than the NCAA tournament weeks? I'll leave it to you. You answer.
I go to Las Vegas, like I said, most years for the first couple days of the NCAA tournament. And so I have a blast. And that's one of the highlights of the year for me is being there. But as a college basketball fan, I would argue that this week is kind of better. That you have games not only just for 2 days, right, where that are on all day long on Thursday and Friday when NCAA tournament week, but you've got games really starting today, but it'll really kick into high gear tomorrow, and then Wednesday is like crazy, and then Thursday might be the best overall day of quality because you start to reach that like quarterfinal round of some of these major tournaments, and that's where you've got like the top 8 in the Big 12, all facing off, the top 8 in the SEC, although the SEC I think actually plays on Sunday. Maybe.
They do. Their championships on Sunday as well as the Big 10 and the Atlantic 10, I believe.
But these conferences are so stacked, from top to bottom now that it's great. Plus, you have these small tournaments that pop up. You've got I'm interested to watch this Georgia Southern game tonight after reading that they're trying to win, their 6th game in 6 days, right? And you see the emotion and everything else. And don't get me wrong, like from a betting perspective, that first couple days of the NCAA tournament is awesome. Like when you're in Vegas and and the energy and the atmosphere is great. But there are a lot of blowouts too in those first couple days because you get 16s against what you get the occasional huge upset, which is unbelievable because a sports bar or a sports book kind of comes alive at that point. But when you have power conference teams like facing off, like a lot of these games are really competitive, good games, and your season's on the line.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree with you. I love it all. I'm the guy that wants to gobble.
I love it all too, by the way. Yeah,
gobble it all up. Like I said, I took my kid to go see Seattle U and University of San Diego because it was there.
Steve Lavin's last game as Torero head coach.
I gotta say, shout out to the Toreros too. They had a bunch of fans behind us. And they were going nuts the entire game. They actually had a 7-point lead at the half on Seattle U, and they the shots weren't falling in the second half. But just the atmosphere in the arena for a game between the 11th seed and the 6th seed for a small conference like the WCC was awesome. Now turn the TV on tomorrow night at 6 o'clock when Gonzaga is possibly playing St. Mary's, and that joint will be jumping. No more $7 tickets tomorrow night.
No, I've always wanted to go to the West Coast Conference Tournament Championship if it is Gonzaga and St. Mary's. Really, if it's Gonzaga and anybody.
Gonzaga versus whoever.
Santa Clara is a great team at this point, right? I don't think Oregon State's going to pull the upset tonight, but Wayne
Tinkle's possibly last game as Beavers coach.
Wayne Tinkle's last game. Yeah,
that's tough. I never thought I'd see that happen after they win the freaking Pac-12 a couple years ago against Colorado.
No, true.
I thought that job was his for life.
That's funny though because it shows like you thought they would build on that, right? Like Oregon State making this magical run to win the Pac-12 tournament. First off,
the Pac-12 killed Oregon State.
It did, but they were starting to fall off before that. Even I'm with you. I'm surprised.
But look at Scott Rook, the coach for Oregon State women. They've fallen off too, and they had a marquee program with Reagan Beers, who's now at Oklahoma. They had a marquee program at Oregon State. I'm just saying. Go ahead.
Mental note. Hit up Dean for some women's plays.
Scott Ruick is a great coach. Anyone who's looking for a new women's basketball coach.
His knowledge is going deep here on Oregon State. So, mental note. Hit up Dean for a couple plays next week in Vegas, women's side. No, but Gonzaga St. Mary's, if it ends up happening, because Gonzaga takes over the Orleans,
completely
for that tournament.
It's an invasion.
And I've always wanted to see that championship game. One of these years, Dean, you and I will get there.
Yes.
We got to get there. And I think you and I, honestly, one of these years should go for conference tournament week.
We need
to. Because the other thing about it is...
Can we just stay 2 weeks then, Scott?
Yeah. Well, this is a real inside thing, but it's like... I've been there during conference tournament week.
You covered it for the Mountain West.
I've covered the Mountain West, so I've spent some time in casinos, like before going to cover Mountain West game and this and that week. And it's like a normal week in the casinos. And so you have freedom of movement. You can get around, and you have a million games, like I said, to wager on if that's your thing.
Right.
The NCAA tournament week, right? It becomes it's so popular that it's like hard almost to find a seat, to get a spot, this and that. And there's other factors that play in. Like if you're just wanting to go there and sit in a sports book and watch, it's hard to get a seat.
You have to reserve your seat and probably pay for it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Or if you can get that even, right? And so maybe if you're dipping your toe into that water, I would suggest maybe going conference championship week one time. I'd get there on a Tuesday, stay through Friday. I mean, you're going to see a million games. You're going to have actually more games, which is the funny thing to wager on if you go. But anyways, I mean.
It's a shame with the Pac-12 dissolving, though. You lost that tournament at T-Mobile, so you'd even have more games.
Yeah, and you could go to games. Right. Yeah, and that's the other thing.
You got the Mountain West at Thomas and Mack, right?
That's the other thing. Yeah, you can go to games. Like Dean was doing. You could cruise around, go to different games if you want.
The WAC will take over the WCC. They'll take over the Orleans once the WCC clears out, too.
By the way.
Right, go ahead. Yeah.
Not going to be surprised if Big West in Henderson as well, just so you know.
That's right. Yeah, the Big West in Henderson, which is Big West. We're the Big West. The Beem and Dean Show is your Big West market.
Shout out to the Big West Conference,
Absolutely.
man. Get us to next year's tournament, right?
That's right. Maybe they'll have us cover it for them.
Yeah. But I'm not going to be shocked if the new Pac-12 ends up playing their conference tournament in Vegas.
I believe you're right.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, nothing official on that front or anything, but I wouldn't be shocked if that ends up happening.
Before we go away from college basketball here, so Scotty and I, we want to give for conference championship week our 2 or 3 best.
I wouldn't call them best bets. I would say we're looking at the board and we're saying if you want to bet a little to win a lot.
Okay.
Who are a couple teams that you could look at?
Somewhere past 5-1 on.
Yeah.
Scotty, I'll let you go first. Give me at least 2 or 3 good ones.
Yeah, now I'm trying to find what I had
you want
written
me to
down
go?
here.
I got mine.
Give me. I've got a couple here.
Go for it.
So first off, in the ACC, now you're going to have to get Duke out of there.
I've got ACC as well.
Which is I mean, trust me, in all these major conferences, there's going to be one team that. But the truth be told, they're kind of looking ahead a little bit, I think, to the NCAA tournament. Like if you're Duke or if you're Florida, if you're UConn or people like that, it's not life or death in these conference tourneys for them like it will be for some of these other teams.
But they sure blew the hell out of North Carolina on Saturday.
No, Duke's I've been on record. I think Duke should be the favorite to win it all at this point. There's some other teams obviously in that mix as well, but I'm going to say Louisville.
Me too.
At plus 950.
9.5 to 1.
9.5 to 1 could be worth a play. When they've got a full complement, of players, and Michael Brown's, I think he'll be back probably. I haven't
he's supposed to be
for the ACC tournament. They are a dangerous team.
Yep.
And then maybe if you want to take a real long shot, maybe just a little money on Miami at 20 to 1.
They've been stubbing their toe recently in the ACC a little bit.
They have, but they've shown an ability to hang with some of the best in that conference, and they've got a stud down low in Renault, the Indiana transfer. Yep. And so those two in the ACC. Looked at, Big 12.
I've got a Big 12. Go ahead.
I'm gonna give you 2. The one I like the best is Iowa State at 7 to 1. Okay. Because Iowa State gets into your grill, all right, defensively, and they also travel well, Dean. And with that tournament being in Kansas City, there's gonna be a big Iowa State contingent there, and so they're gonna have kind of sort of like a mini home court edge in most games as long as they don't play Kansas, right?
And that's who I have. I have Kansas at 8 to 1.
Okay, I combine it. I also, for the super dart throw long shot, Cincinnati at 45 to 1.
Okay, good team. Yeah. Very good team. Who else do you got?
Okay, Big West.
I got Big West as well. Go
Big
for
West,
it.
baby. We're the Big West show. All right, CSUN 15 to 1.
That's who I have.
Okay.
I took CSUN 15 to 1. All roads lead to Cal State Northridge.
The thing about the Big West, Dean, and I think you and I watched a lot of Big West on the Plus.
We have.
A lot of teams can beat a lot of other teams. There's not a huge difference, like in at least from my perspective, eye test wise, in talent level at the top of this conference. CSUN's one of those teams that kind of got off to a rocky start, but they've got some talent on that team.
And they've beaten teams in the Mountain West at home and on the road, by the way, too.
And they've beaten a couple good teams in the Big West too, so they've shown an ability to do that.
Yes.
So I'm 15-1 for them. I wrote down Fullerton at 22-1 maybe, but I am not as sold as I am on CSUN.
I wrote down Cal Poly at 100-1.
Okay,
for $1.
There you go.
My Mustangs. Shout out to Cal Poly Mustangs. I'm going to go. Mott Jim is rocking. I know this is not Mott Jim, but it's going to be fun. Give me 100-1 on Cal Poly for $1.
They also play like a super fast, crazy style, which sometimes is a little bit hard to adjust to in a tournament setting, right?
Yeah.
I know they made a little mini run last year. I think they got to the semis last year.
And
won
they
a couple
have gotten
games.
to the dance before. They've made it, yes.
Mountain West here, Dean.
Okay.
I know you don't like this pick.
I've got one.
Okay, I'm going with Colorado State at 25-1.
Don't like it at all. They killed me over the weekend against Boise. I took them to beat Boise.
Dean, they had won 8 in a row before that, just so you know.
Points, Scotty. I got 8.5.
I know. I hear everybody stubs their toe every now and then.
They didn't cover at Moby Gym. It would have been a nice payout for Dean Schiro, but oh well.
No, but there was a reason that you were on Colorado State in that game.
I was.
Because they've been playing really good basketball recently.
Yeah.
They went into New Mexico and beat them by double digits in the game before the Boise game.
Yeah.
Look, they've got their big man back, right? The Mountain West, again, another conference, kind of like, I would say, the Big West, where there isn't really a dominant team.
Gotcha.
Utah State is going to be the top seed, but they have shown some holes here recently, and you get them out of Logan and you put them into Vegas, right? You know, Colorado State. Okay, I don't think they're necessarily going to bring a huge contingent, to the Thomas and Mack, but I think with no clear dominant team there, you're getting a hot team at 25-1. A team that's gotten their big man back is kind of their their primary guy. They're playing with some confidence, even with that Boise State loss.
So who's the team that plays at Thomas and Mack most of the time? What's their name again?
All right, so I think I know who
UNLV Rebels.
What is it?
60-1.
Okay, I like that.
60-1. Howie Fleming, one of the best guards in all of college basketball, probably the best rebounding guard in all of college basketball. He's averaging 8 rebounds a game as a point guard. Can you believe that? They've got another guy. I forgot his name. He's got
Lawhorn, Biggs Lawhorn. I think it is.
He's a stud.
Yeah.
Listen, anytime you play on someone else's home court, there's always that chance. I know it's a long shot. They probably won't, but give me UNLV at 60-1.
Well, as a guy who covered sports in Vegas, and has been to a bunch of Mountain West tournaments over the years.
Yeah, they've stolen a couple there, haven't they?
Well, the funny thing is like every year, we all would get wrapped up in that, right? Okay, UNLV on their home court, this and that.
Sure.
For whatever reason, it hasn't really translated to a ton of success in the Mountain West tournament, which is interesting.
Yeah.
The team that really takes over the Thomas and Mack, the fan base, New Mexico.
Yeah.
If you ever go to a Mountain West tournament and New Mexico's in the mix, you're going to be shocked at how many New Mexico fans come out for that tournament. And so I don't know what New Mexico's odds are, but
I'm not sure. I eventually want to get to a game at the Pit because I've heard it's great there, by the way. I had a chance when Colorado got to play there a few years ago, but I'd love to see New Mexico play at the Pit. And
San Diego State's fans are always loud and proud too, but there's just not as many as them as there is. Like, it's crazy. Like, it becomes like, Las Vegas, New Mexico.
It's like Albuquerque West or whatever they call it. All right, real quick, free agency. We're just going to mention one or two teams where these shakeups. We also had Mike Evans go to the Niners today, just want to mention. But we've had Max Crosby go, Trent McDuffie. We have all these guys who have gone around. Who do we like? Who do we like in the what free agents moving, in your opinion, one or two teams have really helped them? I'll let you go first, Scotty.
Well, I tried to do a quick kind of, there's been a million moves, like you mentioned, right?
Ton.
And so I tried to find a couple that were, to me, that were really impactful. And like, obviously you're going to get like the marquee guys, like Kenneth Walker, right, signing with, Kansas City, Mike Evans signing with the Niners.
Right.
Those guys are proven commodities, right? I can't argue with their signings, right? But I'm going to give you a couple guys that I think sometimes, you build up front, right? And so the signing by the Raiders of Tyler Linderbaum, I think for that franchise, with what they're trying to do with Ashton Genty, being the first-round pick.
Do with the quarterback position. They're going to get Mendoza with the number one pick.
You've got to build up front if you're the Raiders. You got to start somewhere, and I think this is a great start for the Raiders to sign Linderbaum, who I think is like a Pro Bowl, a pretty young guy still at the end of his rookie deal. And then the other one that kind of popped out to me, just because the team he's coming from, right? Just like Kenneth Walker, right? You win a Super Bowl championship, and now you're going to another team. Kobe Bryant,
Yeah.
the safety for the Seahawks, has signed with the Bears.
Why? Nice.
And Kobe Bryant, I mean, this is like he's
a great player.
He's a legit defensive player. This
Absolutely.
is like a plug and play, immediate, maybe in the Pro Bowl conversation.
Absolutely.
And
no
so
question.
if you're the Bears and you're Ben Johnson and you obviously he's an offensive guy, but here's a defensive stud that you're adding as well. I like those two moves a lot.
Again, the Rams with McDuffie, it just was so needed in the secondary.
Isn't that more of a trade though at this point?
Yeah, but I mean the fact is though, I just like the move. I like them improving their secondary. If you want to talk about free agent moves, Kenneth Walker going to the Chiefs. The one position they did not have was running back. They had a committee of running backs for years and years. Now Patrick Mahomes has one guy to hand the ball off to. And I think it's going to help Seattle as well because now you got Charbonnet as the main guy in Seattle. So I don't think they necessarily lose a lot there. But with Super Bowl teams, they're not going to be able to keep them all intact. So, and then Mike Evans, again, going to the Niners. They needed a receiver. That's the one position they were pretty thin at, ever since they lost Debo and Ayuk wasn't playing. So I'll just kind of go with those
Look,
two.
I'm a fan of Mike Evans. My only concern
is his age.
Yeah, and his health. Like it's been tough for him to play a full season in recent years. And the
Niners are used to that. They haven't had guys play full seasons anyway. So, all right, let's get to our money plays. All right, time for money plays. We're in March now. Let's show the Bemis here. He is in the lead, 922. He had a nice pickup on the under on Indiana at Valpo. Really tough beat on UC San Diego and on Cal State Northridge both. Cal State Northridge won that game by 2, and UC San Diego, did they win that game? Or they lost
ended up losing
by,
that game.
By
both
2,
both
right?
those teams, though, CSUN, because I got there easily with the other half, or with the half of that teaser, but UC San Diego was up, I think, like 8 for like 10 minutes to go or something, and CSUN same thing, up like close to double digits, with like 10 minutes to go, and they both couldn't get there. It's kind of been the way things have been going, but that's okay.
922, really quick, I'll show mine. I'm at 859.48. I kind of stubbed my toe too. I lost over $100 because none of my parlays worked out. The Pelicans saved me from a complete 0 for 6. But with that being said, Scott's got 2 plays. I don't have them on cards, but he's going to do them verbally. So go for it.
Yeah, and I might give you a couple more here too. I think I'm going to fire away. It's college basketball. Conference tourney week.
It is.
All right, Georgia Southern. I mentioned number earlier.
Yep.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ride them in the first half. When you've won 5 games in 5 days, that whole fatigue thing, to me, that it kind of goes out the window. Now, I could see them if they get down to the top seed in the second half, at that point, maybe you kind of relax for a minute because you feel like, oh no, like it's over kind of thing. And then the league could. So I'm going to take them first half tonight, though. I'm going to ride the hot hand there. I mean, so plus 2.5 first half for Georgia Southern, 44 to win 40.
44 to 40, okay.
I'm also going to take Oregon State first half tonight against Gonzaga. A lot of times in these conference tourneys or in the NCAA tournament, really more so in the conference tourney.
How many are you getting there?
Getting 11.5 in the first half.
Okay. Yeah, I know the line is 20.5.
It's 20.5. It's a lot, but I feel more comfortable first half. I think the blowout could happen in the second half, but I think Oregon State, like you mentioned, Wayne Tinkle, already been told he's not coming back next year. They have something to play for, kind of ride it out. I think they'll bring some energy in the first half and be able to stay within 11.5. That's the hope at least. And I'm just going to keep riding this first half train tonight. For teams that have already played a game in these tourneys.
What was the money on that Oregon State one?
Go 42 to win 40 on that. It's minus 105.
Any others real quick?
Santa Clara, let's take them first half against St. Mary's, plus 2.5. Again, they've already gotten their feet wet in that tourney. And we'll go first half with them. And then tomorrow, I'm going to take Stanford. They're a hot team right now. First round of the ACC tournament, minus 4.5 against Pitt. I can give you the exact numbers on it, Dean, after the show. But yeah, they're laying 4.5. They've won 4 in a row coming in. They beat Pitt by like 8 when they played them, at Stanford near the end of the season. And so I think they're a better team than Pitt.
We're running out of time. I don't have time to do all my whole list. I'll just go to the last 2. Give me St. Mary's minus 4.5 for the game against Santa Clara. I expect a big St. Mary's contingent being there too. And then give me $50 on Team USA tonight. Bought it down to 2.5 runs at minus 162 against Mexico. Just like the way they're kind of playing. Scotty, any last thoughts before Thursday?
College basketball, man. Pace yourself. It starts right now and it keeps going until basically April, and then we're into the Masters. We're gonna have a lot more plays on Thursday. Thursday will be a big day for this show. So on behalf of Scott, I'm Dean. This has been the Beam and Dean Show.